So we're going to continue with our little bit of history lesson. So let it not be said that you haven't learned something along the way. Those beautiful stretches of the Wisconsin River that we were looking at here in Wisconsin Dells, European exploration. In 1673, two explorers by the name of Marquette and Joliet actually traveled down through with canoes that stretch of Wisconsin River, and they viewed the same views that you just saw out of this train. They continued on their journey to Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, which is the outlet of the Wisconsin River into the Mississippi, and so began the development and the immigration movement and the migration of Europeans into the central part of the continent. So all begins here along the Wisconsin River, from Wisconsin Dells to Prairie du Chien and the Mississippi River. So much history has taken place within this area. So we believe the sites that we are seeing and what we are about to pass through along the Mississippi River are quite overwhelming. They are not of the magnitude of what you would see or expect in the Rocky Mountains, which is the next destination of this train, but we think it's pretty profound and worth sharing with you so you understand the history and the significance of what all happened here. Now, with that just little diversion, back to the story of the Wisconsin Badgers. How did that come to be? Okay, here's another little piece of history. Back in the early 19th century, beginning in the late 18th century, massive deposits of lead were discovered in southwestern Wisconsin. And today it's referred to as a lead mining district. So that lead was easily recovered. It was mined, it was processed to make lead pipes to be used in paint, and also what would have been one of the metals that was of great importance back in the 19th century. But lead, what would you use lead for? You would use lead for musket balls. And so this was a source of lead that was used in for armaments, for melting the lead and making the projectiles, the mini balls that were used during the Civil War, as well as the round balls. It was one of the advantages that existed for lead deposits here. The other location was in Missouri. Missouri also has a lead district. But anyhow, as the immigrants were coming into this area, primarily the Welsh miners that had experience, and I might add that the immigrants that were coming in, they were looking for something that they were familiar with and they were comfortable with. And they knew that there was a lead mining district, so that kind of naturally attracted them into this area. And so there wasn't a place for the lead miners and their families to live, so what they ended up doing is they burrowed into the side hills of the banks of the rivers and of the terrain. And on sunny mornings, people would note all the miners and their families were emerging from their burrows, and they said, my, don't they look like a bunch of badgers? True story.
That's a good one. A bunch of badgers. That's a good one.
And Wisconsin, it's not all about lead mining. As a matter of fact, wheat farming was predominant with the immigrants as they're arriving within this area, both in Minnesota and in the state of Wisconsin. Wheat farming was great. You could harvest up to 2 crops in a year in a short growing season, what we have here. But wheat farming was very harsh on the soil conditions because wheat farming depleted the nitrogen. And the agronomy science did not exist back in the middle 19th century. So what was happening is harvest was declining, the production. And so a lot of the farmers that chose to take up farming, now they're finding that their crop is being depleted and it's not beneficial for it, and so that there is indeed a problem with their farming practices, but they didn't know what it was. In the meantime, there was another immigrant that arrived from New York, and that immigrant brought with him a great wealth of knowledge about dairying. And so he introduced dairying to the state of Wisconsin. And Wisconsin today is known as, and look at a Green Bay Packers game, and what do all the Green Bay fans wear on their heads? And what are they called? They're called cheeseheads. And if you haven't seen them wearing the cheesehead caps, then you have to tune in and watch a Green Bay Packer fan. And as a matter of fact, today, probably about 75% of the dairy industry production goes into the production of cheese. So with its reliance on the dairy industry, or its transition to the dairy industry, what do you think is the logo on the Wisconsin license plates?
Cheese.
Not quite cheese, but getting close. It's called America's Dairyland. So if you see a Wisconsin plated vehicle, take a look at their license plate, and now you'll know the rest of the story.
Wisconsin is America's Dairyland.
So we're going to be moving forward. I'm going to take a short break here for a little bit, but we're going to be coming up to Tomah, Wisconsin in a short bit. We're going to be talking about the agricultural activities around Tomah. We also are going to be seeing what appear to be sand pits or sand piles in the distance. We're also going to be running this train directly through the middle of a sand mine, and there's a lot of significance associated with that sand mine and those sand mining operations, and I'm going to talk to you and explain to you what it is you're seeing out the window when we arrive at that point. So, returning in a short bit, enjoy the sights and the scenery, and be with you in a bit.
And thank you, Treadles for Rails.
Thanks.
And enjoy your trip on Amtrak. Peace, man. Okay, y'all got a history lesson about Wisconsin. I'm out.